and Barracuda, as
I
per
forgot
usual.
to unmute. I just unmuted.
He didn't unmute everybody. He didn't unmute. Look,
I counted down to click off the scene.
see the thumbs up now as well. So normally I am the one who does like the tech end of the show, if you could even call it that, which is really just like putting the mics in the right place and the cameras in the right place and the overlay in the right place and pressing start stream and pressing end stream and all that kind of good stuff. And as we all know, I do a phenomenal job. I never mess up. It's always perfect.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how consistent you are.
Consistently bad, you mean?
Consistently perfect in every way.
Oh, okay, thank you. But because I'm in Pittsburgh and my internet is good enough to be on stream, I hope, but not do the streaming myself, Bera is going to be in charge of the show for the next few weeks. You know, you're kind of the guy doing it now, Barry. How does it feel?
It feels completely normal since I'm still on the right side and still sick, by the way. I'm doing great, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question. How are you feeling? You know, are you feeling better at all?
Slowly. The worst part.
That was a very well-timed cough. Yep.
Yeah. So I cough a lot when I am talking. That's the word. And I got like a bronchitis infection after COVID, which apparently can't happen, and that's a lot of fun. And I think I had COVID during the SPL tournament weekend. I don't think it was the flu. I think it was just COVID. And then I got reinfected with bronchitis. It's weird because sorry, I'm going to be all over the place on this podcast, by the way. No,
you're good.
My brain fog is just farming me.
It's intense.
Well, brain fog and normal Barracuda brain.
Right.
It's weird because the first weekend, like the tournament weekend, I was sick. And then that Monday or Tuesday, I was like, oh, I'm like getting better. And then by the Friday or Saturday of that same week, I started getting really sick again. Like, I was just low energy, low everything. And it's really perfect because that's my break.
Yeah.
So I spent my week-long break, which turned to like a week and like 3 days, because my team graciously allowed me to not scrim, which was very kind of them. And so I just laid in bed. And so, like I said, after our Scarab set, I was really happy that we won, because our practice was just really bad. Because the only Smite I've played is the like 3 scrim sets that we did before SPL. Like, I didn't play any ranked. I didn't play anything, and because it's really hard. Like, even walking up the stairs like wins me, and even right now, like talking this much, I'm having to like take these like really deep breaths so I can like keep talking because my lung capacity is just shot, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's still serious business. I mean, obviously, things are a lot better than they were. You know, it's not nearly as deadly, but COVID is not something that you want to be messing around with. That's for sure. So
it was really unlucky as well because we went to the concert on Tuesday before the LAN, because LAN was that weekend, and I was really excited for the concert, and I think that's where I got COVID from. And I was also in the pit, so I think, I don't know if you can get like larger doses of COVID or smaller doses of COVID, but I think I got a pretty juicer amount of COVID. So I've just been sick for a long time. Like, it's just so hard, like having zero energy and also having like brain fog and everything on top of that.
Yeah, definitely been there. Wasn't fun and wouldn't want to do it again. So, and then I did do it again. So I wouldn't want to do it a third time, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Do your feet get sweaty?
Yeah, my feet normally are kind of sweaty. You know what? That actually leads me to a really interesting thing that I can talk for 15 minutes about, and that's not Smite. When I wear slippers, I feel like I like having slippers, right? But my feet get too sweaty whenever I'm just wearing slippers. So I've discovered the tech of wearing socks with my slippers. And you might be thinking, isn't that just overkill? But it's really not. And so it fixes the problem. My feet are no longer sweaty, and they're comfy all at the same time. So maybe you could try that. You know, maybe some socks and slippers combo would be big.
What, like, rich people do?
Well, it can't just be rich people because I'm doing it.
I feel like I don't know. This is like a TV thing for me, maybe. I feel like a lot of like rich people on TV, like like sitcoms and whatnot.
Yeah.
I feel like they're always like socks.
Should I just? I'm wearing socks and socks and slippers right now. Like.
Oh my! This is a real Hazer moment.
There you go. You know, I got them both on. That was really good podcast content.
That looks really good,
there.
actually.
It's much more comfortable. I don't know. Because my feet were getting cold down here in the basement with just the socks, so I need the slippers, and the hard bottom is really the difference maker there.
Could you just double sock?
I don't think so. I think that would get more uncomfortable. But maybe not. I mean, I didn't think that socks plus sandals was going to be the tech, but here I am. So there you go. If you're liking sandals, but your slippers rather, and your feet get too sweaty, try socks with your slippers. I think that's good.
Have you ever worn Crocs?
I think I've put Crocs on, but I've never owned a pair of Crocs. And it's not that I'd be embarrassed to say I do, because who cares, right?
Exactly.
But no, I'd be interested in owning a pair.
I've just seen a lot of people wearing Crocs lately, and I think it was like Sam for soccer, maybe?
Yeah, Sam's a man who was all about comfort over fashion.
See, I'm the same way, so I feel like I should be wearing Crocs by now.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should just order some right now, honestly. Can we get a Crocs sponsorship for the podcast, maybe? That would,
What?
That would be nice if we could just get some sent to us, you know?
What color Crocs should I get? I'll buy some tonight.
Well, if you want to wear them like for SPL games, you should get like some navy ones so that they match your unis.
Okay.
Or some yellow, you know, if you want to go the secondary color.
Yellow? Is it like a bright yellow?
Well, your logo is like navy and yellow.
Yeah, duh,
right?
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm here, by the way.
No, I know, and I'm glad to have you. Yeah, I think like you could go. Ooh, Percy, I think in the chat said yellow with a blue strap or blue with a yellow strap. Definitely don't do yellow with a blue strap. It's really weird when a team uses secondary color as the primary color and then goes with the primary color as a secondary color. If you want to go primary or secondary color as the primary and then a tertiary color as your secondary, then it can work. But I wouldn't do it the other way around.
I think I would just get one solid color. I don't think I would get like.
Then I'd go navy.
Okay, yeah.
I'd go
get
navy.
some navy Crocs. Can you get them on Amazon?
I don't know. Probably. What can't you get on Amazon?
That's true. I don't know why.
Actually, on that topic, I was looking for something on Amazon recently that I couldn't find, and it was premium wireless service for less than $15 a month. And I was looking on Amazon, and I was like, my God, how do I not see it here on Amazon? And then my search brought me to mintmobile.com, where I did and was able to find premium wireless service for less than $15 a month. And it was so easy to just sign up. It didn't take any amount of time. There was no hassle. I got to keep my same phone number, my same phone, all my existing contacts, all that kind of good stuff, and get the nation's largest 5G network for just $15 a month. Bear, do you know anything about Mint Mobile and how amazing it may or may not be?
Yeah, well, it's definitely amazing. I can tell you that much.
Okay, good. I'm glad you confirmed that part.
Me and Destiny signed up for the very first ad that we did, and I have literally zero thoughts of going back to any other wireless service, mainly because it's so cheap, and as everyone knows probably, I'm a penny pincher. I literally talk about like grocery shopping on my stream and how to save money. I'm also the kind of guy, this is going to be embarrassing, to to every Sunday I go through the weekly ads of the grocery stores and I buy whatever produce is on sale. So
Vera.
I am definitely that guy that pinches all my pennies. So if you are also a penny pincher or just someone that loves to save money, Mint Mobile is definitely the tech for you. I feel weird saying tech, but it's kind of a new thing. But
yeah, it's the new tech. It's the new meta.
Yeah, it's the new tech for you guys. So definitely sign up for Mint Mobile. Yeah, COVID Boy recommends it.
COVID Boy recommends it. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped straight to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/backliners. That's mintmobile.com/backliners. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/backliners. Again, thanks to Mint Mobile for being a sponsor for the show. If you guys want to support us and the Backliners podcast in general, best way to do it by hitting up our sponsors and using our codes and all that kind of good stuff. All right, let's talk a little bit about SPL. We're talking about Smite music that I didn't get set up before I left and now won't be happening until I get back. Not going to go over everything from the week, but just kind of wanted to talk about overall what happened this week. More, a lot of change-ups since the LAN in the meta. The bonus balance went live, Hunters got nerfed, Warriors got buffed. You wouldn't be able to tell very much by the way the picks and bans went, though, Barry. Still a lot of Hunters in the Soul lane, Hunters in the mid lane, triple Hunter comps, particularly from the Jade Dragons. I guess obviously you had a better idea of what was going to be happening because you've been scrimming and that kind of stuff. You've been in a limited capacity. I was expecting less Hunters than we saw this time around. I was a little surprised at how many there still were.
I think it's because the build path didn't really change too much. Like, the Devo's nerf doesn't, hard affect Hunters, in my opinion, because there's still, other good lifesteal options available. I think Atalantis is still, a really good bridge item if you're going, Ichavolt first, if you're going Dom first, if you're going Trans first. Hunters still do their jobs, even though Devo's got nerfed. It's just, you just have less to stay in the early game. That's just what it is. And I also think with the late game Hunters, lifesteal value also goes down. So I don't think you really even need lifesteal. You can go a Death's Embrace. I think we saw Cyclone doing that. He was going Death's Toll, the math build. He was going Kins, Xe, Wind Demon, and then Deathbringer or Silver Branch. Depending on the situation. Sorry, I need a...
by all means.
Deep breath here. So Hunters are still very viable. I don't think it's near the point where, I don't know. It's a weird place where 4-Fizz is viable and 4-Fizz isn't viable in the same reign, and it's there's just a lot of people scrambling. I think us included. I think people don't really know exactly how the meta is. We just know what's performing well in scrims at SPL, which I mean can be the meta, but it feels really weird to scrim on it plus play SPL on it. It's just a really weird feeling patch overall, I think.
It makes sense, right? I mean, this is still the very recent fallout from the patch that changed the game more than any patch ever has. And then there's another patch on top of that, and we're going to talk about another patch coming on top of that, and they're still coming. So I think that it's going to stay feeling kind of weird at a high level for a little bit. But it makes it fun to watch, in my opinion. Lots of stuff gets weird, and people are going to go with really odd picks, and I think that is fun. I think that it's interesting to watch and, watch teams kind of figure it out in real time.
I'll say I think Titans have probably the best grasp of the meta, and they're still playing Warriors and solo situationally. I think this meta really fits Aurora's playstyle. I think he is by far the best performing support right now. I think it also he's probably the best Kumba in the world. I mean, I just feel like he is, and if Kumba's a good character, he just makes a ton of room with it consistently. And I think every time we've seen Titans play, they have looked insanely dominant. I think, I don't know if you guys talked about, but like the Masters LAN,
Mm-hmm.
we saw Sot playing the Hunters and then going like this full dive comp with every crit hunter in the game, which on paper
Yep.
looks really awkward, but the way they were team fighting was like beautiful. Like
Yep.
they would all go in, they would kind of like separate or like spread out a little bit, and then they would dive in again like 10 seconds later, and they did that over and over and over again. Like the Chernobog would go in and make room, or the Apollo would go in and make room, and then he'd get backed up from not a frontliner, but another hunter or another damage dealer. I don't think we've ever really seen that meta in Smite before.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think it's really weird. Sometimes games are snowballing enough to where like one or two kills blows the entire game out, but then other times it feels like you can kind of always make a comeback. And
Right.
I think it's if the other team has like enough like objective burn with the gods that get ahead, you feel like you're always reacting to them pulling pyro, them pulling gold, them pulling fire. It's like, okay, we need war vision everywhere because they can walk to this fire. Like our study against scarabs, like the Merc got a double kill in the first like in the first like 3 minutes of the game, and after that, or the Chernobog got a double kill, and after that, it's like we can't really come back. Like we can't fight mid, we can't fight solo side, we can't fight duo. Like it literally strips all of your win cons away when
Right.
certain comps get ahead. And I really think every team, I mean, maybe Kings and Dragons are a little bit closer, but I think every other team in the SPL is a little lost right now.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about it a lot during the post Masters Land show, where Roar, I just felt like was playing the right gods and playing the right style. I'm surprised more people didn't go to that style of prioritizing Kumba. I know Rongu played it in their set as well, but Kumba, Xingchen, Kepri, like these are the gods that I think are very successful in support right now. And I'm surprised we didn't see more of those three in particular. But we'll see. We did see a lot of Kepri. We saw a lot of Nox, all that kind of stuff. I think Nox is like fine.
I think
But
Kumba is a god. This might be a cop-out answer, but I feel like not every support player is a Kumba player. I feel like it has a very different play style, and I feel like it's kind of like the Herc meta a little bit, where he's just like a harasser, and I think those kind of metas are where Roar shines the most, where he's just able to harass people on cooldown.
right,
And
yeah,
I just think Kumba seems like a simple god to play on the SPL level. It's like, oh yeah, just pick up Kumba, just play him. But I think it's so much harder because he's not a god that a lot of people practice a lot. Like he's been a
Right.
dead god for how many years?
yeah.
now?
When was the last time Kumba was meta?
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm actually gonna look at the last time Kumba Karna was nerfed. According to
Or
Smite
changed at all. Like
Wiki. According to the Smite Wiki. Well, yeah. I mean, I can tell you from my end, like. Do you think people are going to get real excited over Kumba buffs? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not. He did get a buff in Season 9. Increased the wake up early, slow, and attack speed slow debuff on his 3 from 1 scaling to 2 to 2 seconds at all ranks. He got
Holy.
buffed 8.6. That was a year ago, tomorrow, or on Wednesday, so June 15th, 2021. He was nerfed Season 7, 7.2.
wow.
His ultimate landing damage got nerfed. And he gets one change
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like
is basically what it's looking like. Like, he got one change in Season 5 that was like a cooldown, that was like a actual balance change. In Season 6, it was just the change to his passive where executes would now actually execute him if his passive was up.
oh yeah.
Season 7, he got a nerf to his ultimate. Season 8, he got 2 buffs, and then Season 9, he got a buff. So I guess we
Nice.
can't change him until Season 10.
Yeah, I've already used that card for this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, we already did it, guys. Sorry, we can't do anything else. Kumba, he only wakes up for changes once a year. That's the cute little dev note. That
Little
we would write.
Snorlax meta right there.
Exactly. Seriously, I think he's really good right now.
Same.
I think that god's been sleeper good for a long time.
Nice.
Pun unintended, but solid. and yeah, more people should be playing them. I guess the other like big, I guess like the one big, maybe not surprise, but the most noteworthy set of the weekend was how easily the Titans 2-0'd the Leviathans.
Oh yeah, that was disgusting.
Just like crushed them. It was not even close.
Yeah, I feel like
Titans are just far and away the best team right now. I think
yeah,
they're just completely dominant.
like the Chernobog solo, I think, by Yark into Sot's Bologna, I feel like after like 5 minutes, that game was over. Like, Yark literally didn't get to play the game. They were hard jamming all of his blues. Sometimes I think ADC doesn't really matter right now. So, like, if you're winning solo side and you're blowing out a side, like, they can't. Like, I think Spinner might have been playing like a Jingwei that game. Like, what are you going to do to Jingwei? Like, you want to hard camp a Jingwei? Like, even if she messes up and you get 1 or 2 kills, she's not going to get behind. Like, that's just not how the character works.
Right.
And then, I want to say the next game, I want to say it was Warrior versus Warrior. I could be wrong.
It was Arthur versus Bologna, yep.
Okay, yeah. And I think that Titans... Was that the game that Aurora was Kumba?
No, he was Kabrakan this game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Looks like Paul, based on the damage numbers, was kind of going off on Hugh Huang.
Oh!
Which I need to go back and watch this game.
That was the game where they kept diving mid. Leviathans looked like they were scrimming or playing ranked. They dove mid over and over and over again, and then just lost the game off of like diving between a mid tier 1 and a tier 2. And I was just very confused. Like, it's so backwards from the Leviathans we're normally used to seeing. Not saying like they're washed and like playing horribly, but normally they're much more reserved and making much more decisive plays, especially, I'll say, like, not, like, throwing Pantom under the bus, but I feel like Pantom's normally, like, dictating the pace of the game, like, ganking every lane while Shinto free farms, and I feel like they've kind of, like, lost their identity a little bit right now. I mean, also, I feel like every team lost their identity, and then Titans just reclaimed their identity a week later. Like,
yep.
And every team... I think Dragons and Kings are closest to them right now. I feel like we have a lot of work to do before we really understand this meta and adapt to this meta. But I feel like every other team is like pretty far behind. I will say I think Scream looked pretty good. I think it was against his Warriors set. He was putting on like a hypercarry performance. And I mean, he did die to Fire Giant. That was pretty funny. But everything outside of that... I feel like that man is, like, trying to carry a lot of weight right now. Like, he is making so many plays on the map.
Yeah. I mean, I said at the very beginning of the season, I said it when the Scarabs were struggling and didn't make it to the Masters LAN. Where Scream goes, that team goes.
Yep.
Scream has 2 good games, or a good weekend in general. They win 2 games, look like their old selves. So, you know, that's just how that... I don't think any team is as dependent on what one player is doing as the Scarabs are on Scream.
I will say it was nice. I mean, it wasn't nice that we struggled against Scarabs. Obviously, I would like to, like, 2-0 and be, like, very dominant. But it was nice to see Scarabs from Masters to now playing like they should be playing, in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we roasted them really hard after the Masters LAN, but I think we were both like disappointed fathers at a little league game.
Hey man, point. We only can say what they give us, you know. Like that's all we can react to is what we see out in the games.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's just how it's got to be. So, Slaney is saying, I know it's a cop out, but we seriously had like 1 week of good scrims this year before Masters. I get it, you know, but again, I don't think it as true as that is, it can't really change what the public is going to talk about that much. You know what I mean? I think that's just how it is. And yeah, Slaney says not an excuse, obviously. So I think they get it. And we're all rooting for the Scarabs to turn it around and have a really sick Phase 2 because that team's super fun to watch whenever they're playing well. So hopefully we get to see more of it.
And phase 2 is a very long phase. It is a 2-month long phase. So there's a lot of teams, in my opinion, going to be figuring out their identity in this new patch. And a lot of teams, if they are playing really poorly right now, they might not be playing poorly by the end of the split. And vice versa. If they're playing really well right now, they might get figured out and countered by the end of the phase. So there's going to be a lot of interesting Smite, in my opinion, going on the next 2 months.
I agree. All right, let's talk a little bit about 9.6. Not the world's biggest update, with 9.5 being so impactful, and still seeing, and then 9.5 bonus being very big, and with mid-season coming up around the corner, mid-season is 9.7. So I think that, going with a little bit of a lighter patch here in 9.6 was a good idea, obviously. So I think we actually can cover basically everything here, which is kind of rare for us to go over patch notes for each thing. Let's start with Morningstar. That's the tier 1 of Transcendence. Loses 3 physical power, goes from 10 to 7. This was just an outlier after we did a pass on tier 1's power in an earlier update to slow down the game. Slow down the early game, I should say. Do you think this, alongside the Devo's buff we're about to talk about, means that Transcendence is actually less appealing, or do you think this doesn't really matter much for you?
I don't think the first pre-back matters too much right now in Duo. We see a lot of supports buying a Hog as well to stop the potential of a 2 or 4 minute invade as well. They won't hog the first purple, they'll just save it for either the purple or red or wherever they're getting invaded or being harassed at. So I don't think the early game matters too much right now in Duo. Not sure for like other lanes like solo and mid if there are like hunters there. Not sure. I assume it matters a little bit, but I feel like it's more of a slap on the wrist. Like if you're gonna go trans or dom, you're still gonna go trans or dom. It's just gonna feel slightly worse in the early game. But I think the bigger changes I think it's this change with like the mage starter change. I think that's like 2 knobs being turned in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll get to those in just a sec. Golden Blade gains 150 gold. I mean, this item is like completely taken over jungle and solo at times. It was the cheapest tier 3 item in the game. It is still the cheapest tier 3 item in the game. I think it might be tied now with like, is Mail of Renewal still 2150? I don't know. There's something else that's close to this as a tier 3 item, but a couple items that I can think of that are around 2200, 2250. But either way, Golden Blade still going to be really good. I still think that that Golden Blade junglers are going to be some of the best. Just not going to get it like quite as early. 2,000 gold for this item is crazy.
Agreed. I mean, I think this might feel worse for ranked than comp. Because I feel like if you're playing like a hyper farmer, Baka, I feel like it's probably going to feel slightly worse. But I think it's the same as like trans or dom. If you're going to buy them, you're still going to buy them.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to take us off of items because someone in chat was asking for me to talk about the persistent CC, continuous
that's a
CC
huge
changes.
Yeah.
I think it is important to change. That's why we did it. I think that the way that these persistent CC effects interacted felt wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion, like if I walk into a Nox 2 and I'm CC immune, and then my CC immunity runs out, and the Nox 2 is still on the ground, I would expect to be silenced, and that was not the case. So it is a big change, and it does hurt short cleanses like Chiron one, but I also don't think the average player would ever know if we would have made this change and not said anything. So I'm a little surprised at how vocal the community has been about the impact of it.
I think I was talking about this either with my team or I guess it would have had to be with my team. I think the community piggybacks off of what pros and content creators say now way, way, way more than they used to. Like,
Way more than they used to.
way more. And, dude, I was smurfing... Okay, this is going to be...
Mackenzie's very excited to go out, you guys. Sorry about that.
I was smurfing a Slash game the other day for fun. I think it was yesterday, actually. And this guy was like, I'm playing an ADC, why is a warrior killing me? And I'm like, I know what stream you watch. I know who you're subbed to. You cannot fool me. I just think people take it to heart a bit too much what content creators and streamers say, and then just regurgitate that information nonstop.
Yeah, I think it's this cycle that has become faster and faster. It did take a long time to kind of complete the cycle before, but now it completes pretty quickly. And here's what I think that cycle is. We release patch notes. Pros don't like something in the patch notes, which is, of course, within their rights. We're not always going to get it right. You know, not complaining about any of this, for the record. We release patch notes. Pros say, this isn't good. You know, we don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Then the community sees that they don't like that and starts also saying, yeah, this sucks. Like, you shouldn't have done this. This is bad. Then the pros, because they are incentivized to do so, because it is their job and they want to win as much as possible, instead of just sitting around and continuing to complain, they figure out ways to beat the thing that they think is too strong and realize sometimes that it is not as bad as they initially thought, or sometimes it's worse. But it usually is not as bad as they think, right? It almost always, with enough time, teams figure out a way to beat what they think is too good. So they change their mind and think, okay, this isn't as bad as we initially thought. We think that, it could be changed. Yeah, sometimes they don't think it needs to be changed anymore, all that kind of stuff. The community, on the other hand, only gets more and more worked up about how OP or underpowered something is.
Yep.
They can only escalate from their position because they aren't able to put in that time of work because it's a hundreds of thousands person community, not a couple of pro teams who are dedicating their full days to figuring out how to beat it. This is a hobby for everyone else, so it makes sense. But they can only escalate that opinion, and then we get that opinion on its escalation from everybody else on Twitter and Twitch and Reddit, and so we have to react to the escalated opinion of the community, and then pros go, well, hold on, we didn't need to change it that much anymore. We figured out how to beat it. Why are you addressing it as if it were this big problem like we initially said it was? But it's because the two complaints diverge so quickly these days, and the community gets so worked up so quickly now that we have to be pretty heavy-handed in these situations, I think. So it leads to something that I do want to talk about at some point on the podcast, but haven't really figured out a good way to do so. And that's this idea of all the propaganda that you see from all the different roles. All that kind of stuff, which is funny, and I get it. But I don't think everyone realizes that it really does your role more harm than good in the long run.
Yeah.
But go ahead, you had something to say.
I was actually saying that with my team, that I think content creators and people in general in the community, like streamers, especially pro players, I think we should be way slower on the trigger of all of these dramatic responses. Like, I basically have completely stopped tweeting about patches and changes because I feel like it does nothing productive. Like,
well, Barrett, you could say, wow, this is so cool and awesome, and I can't wait to buy a bunch of gems, and man, the people in charge of making these decisions are so smart. Like, that could be helpful in some way. Right?
I don't think so. I feel like, I feel like your head would just explode because it's already pretty big. It's already pretty inflated.
No, surely not.
I do feel like, I was going to bring this up during the patch notes, I do feel like that is the Devo gloves change because it got hard nerfed, and then the next patch it got buffed, and I'm as a pro player I'm like confused, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, that's literally everyone in the cats are fighting. That's everyone on the design team being jerked around so many different directions by stats plus Hobbs. Sorry, he would pin Luna down. I don't know if you could hear her.
No, you're good.
She was yelling. Yeah, I feel like you guys are being jerked around so many different directions by the community, by pros, by people overreacting to, like, I mean, we talked about it, like, the changes from the patch notes was probably the biggest changes, like, Smite's had in years.
Yep.
And I feel like everyone just needs to take a step back and play on it for just a little bit, you know? And just slowly digest the meta and the counters to the meta. Like we brought it up earlier, like with the Kumba thing. Like, I think Kumba is an extremely good support right now. I think he hard counters a lot of what the Hunter comps are doing, because in every Hunter comp, most of the time they're grouped up. And we saw Aurora get like 30 beads this weekend in one game on his Kumba game. Like, he literally nonstop got beats. He nonstop forced things. And you don't have a frontliner to put him in combat anymore. Like, but everyone's just overreacting so strongly. Like, I was like, maybe content creators should just not like stop saying their opinions, but it's just like less like dramatization, whatever the word is, dramatization, whatever. Like, I feel like we're just in like a reality show. Like, every patch, like, Zap's preaching something, and then I see like other tweets, not only obviously calling out Zap, but he is the meme in the community of like pushing Hunters every patch, and then he tweeted out like, there's too many warriors in this game, there's like 3 warriors. He's like, what are these teams doing? And then his team picks a Hunter and gets jammed. Like,
right.
It's kind of annoying, but it's just like you realize like Zap has an enormous following at this point. Like, he's probably like the biggest streamer. Like, he has legions of fans. Like, legions of loud opinions. And obviously, I'm not saying Zap is the reason for X, Y, and Z. I'm just saying,
no, of course not.
It should be lessened, I think. Like, the response on Twitter and responses in general. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but yeah.
No, I think that your overall point was there, and I just think that, you know, when it comes down to it, all of that's how the content creation ecosystem works, right? You have to be dramatic. You have to clickbait. You have to push it. And Zap and Mike and Final K and everyone else, the more money they make on their YouTube videos and on their streams and through generating engagement on Twitter, that is all better for Smite, right? And I don't want to get that lost in this discussion whatsoever. We want them to do as well as humanly possible because it's better for them, and if it's better for them, it's better for us. So, and that is very clear. I just think that when we talk, like, the rate at which the feedback comes in and the intensity of the feedback, remember, it's all that cycle that I described earlier, and for every take that your favorite pro has or your favorite personality has, their fans who don't understand it as deeply as them, which is all of them, because that's why they're pros, and that's to be expected. Every single one of those is only going to escalate from their position. So when we start every take at 9 out of 10 on the heat scale, it can only go to 15 out of 10, right? And it can only get everyone really whipped up. And when one group of support players sees the group of ADCs saying all these things, then they feel like they need to match that in order for it to get through all that kind of stuff. And it just becomes this arms race of hyperbole. It
really is, man.
On how bad your role is, right?
Like, Twitter's literally politics right now, man, in Smite.
It is. It is. It really is. And so, you know, I really don't know. Like, I actually view it as a serious thing that I would like to find a way to address. Not for each of these players to hurt their chances of their content spreading, but I think that it forces the community. It doesn't force, but it ends up with the community being in a spot where they can't be happy. And some people will hear what I'm saying and say it's our fault that they can't be happy because we can't get it right, and that is an opinion that you are entitled to have.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when we try and zoom out and look at how it all is, I think it's a fair statement for me to say, as a designer, it makes our job harder the more worked up everyone gets. And by working everyone up, it makes it less likely that we're actually going to get it right, is my opinion.
I just view you as in a daycare, and someone got a juice that they didn't want. And now this kid wants that flavor juice. And it's only one juice box. You can't split that flavor of juice box between everyone. And people are just like, oh, that juice box looks better. And they're not even drinking their own juice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I am going off the rails right now. This COVID brain's dipping me, but I feel like that makes sense in my head.
Yes.
Okay,
that is tough.
It's a juice box dilemma. Yeah.
No, I'm with you there. All right, that took up a lot of our time, so we're not going to be able to go through everything. But I think, no, it's a discussion I really wanted to have, and I think it's really important. And I, it's knowing how much is coming in mid-season, which, I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying mid-season's a big patch with a lot of change. That's what mid-seasons are for.
That's pretty cool.
It's, I just have no clue what's going to happen. I just have no clue what the reactions are going to be, because it's going to be so wide open and there's going to be so much new stuff that who knows?
Who knows?
We're just gonna Barry, I'm at the equivalent right now. We're at in my design brain, I'm in a 50-minute game. Okay, It's been back and forth. Both teams have had Phoenixes down. We can't seem to end, and we are on an EFG, and they are coming, and we know they're coming. Neither team has secure. And I'm just deciding we're flipping it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. That is a real
Let's flip
thing in SPL games, by the way, chat. That is a real thing that happens.
At this point, let's just flip it and see what happens. And that's where I'm at. And I think that that's good, honestly. Because I think that when there's this much change in a game, like in 9.5, at some point, you got to do your due diligence. You've got to try your best. And I think at some point, you've got to say, let's just flip it.
At some point, you're popping girdle with no secure, hoping you get it. I mean, that's
yeah, you increase your odds, right? You're doing the best you can.
Right. If they get
but
it,
at the end of the day, it's a flip.
Yep.
It's a flip. So let's flip it. That's my motto these days. Let's flip it.
Nice. Good motto.
Okay, Devos gets reverted. Do you think Devos becomes, or partially reverted, goes from 20% to 25% total? Do you think that Devos dominates again, or still, sometimes yes, sometimes no?
Depends on the meta in ADC. We have seen the more boxing hunters come out. We've seen the Huyis. I thought Huyi was really bad, and I tried him in the Devos meta, and he felt terrible, because, it took 9 years to clear anything. And then with the Ichable build, I think the boxing hunters are way better. So say you're like a Jingwei into a Huyi, and you see, you think he's going to rush Ichable. Going Devos doesn't really feel great there, because you're like, my 4, 6, 8, potentially even my 10-minute purple is under pressure now because of my build. So I'm not sure if people will fully swap back to Devos like they were. But it definitely makes it a more approachable option in a late game versus late game ADC.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that Devos is fine. Like I said, I think that people are realizing that builds there are multiple different versions. Sands of Time and Conduit Gem both getting a little bit of extra clear. Really, just I think this is going to be big for mages. I don't know. A lot of people are worried about solo guardians and that kind of stuff being problematic with these. I'm a little surprised, because solo guardians could have been building these when they were good at clearing before 9.5. Now I don't maybe they can't die without a defensive starter, when they don't have a defensive starter, and they would die before because of minion damage and god damage, and with the extra HP they can get away with more power. like maybe that's the case, but I'm not. I'd be kind of surprised if this instantly brought Guardians back into solo. I just think that this will significantly help mages in mid.
I would be surprised if it does bring Guardians into solo, because I feel like if they pick a Guardian solo, that makes a Hunter solo even better, because you know you're not going to get pressured for the next 15 minutes and you can free farm. But it depends on like how good or bad your team fight's going to be with that Hunter. Do we have a dive comp? Like, how much is the Guardian going to be able to peel? But yeah, I feel like Guardians being in solo, as long as they're not like broken OP picked every game, I think that's fine, as long as they have some viability. I feel like they're completely out of solo right now, which in my opinion is a little unhealthy, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about that. Assassins get some mace buffs, also some hunters, notably Uller is on everyone's mind, doesn't get a nerf this patch and gets a couple maces buffed, including Crusher. Certainly a god to keep an eye on our end. I don't think that that's any secret. But overall, do you think any of these maces, Crusher included, come back in the Hunter build with these changes?
I still like to build them on Scotty. I mean, I did go to crit Scotty build this weekend, which that was fun. But I think that definitely makes Crusher a little bit more approachable. I would say in Scotty builds, these are pretty big Uller buffs, I would say. Definitely makes him a little scary, because he kind of spikes over and over and over again.
Right.
So it makes him a little scary on the spectrum. Because
Sure.
he's already obviously very good. I think everyone knows he's very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, on to some gods. Again, probably not going to cover all of these, though maybe we do. If we're going quick. Yemoja gets some pretty big nerfs. Ring duration on the 3 gets cut in half from 6 to 3, and decrease the slow from 20% to 10%. And the ultimate initial slow was 90%, is now 60%. Barry, you think this is enough to finally...
That was going to be my joke.
Finally take Yemoja out of top pick, top ban among us.
Honestly, I'm just going to say no, because I've said yes.
That's a safe bet.
I've said yes a lot, and I've been wrong a lot. So I'm just going to say no. This god refuses to die regardless of the nerfs that's being thrown at her for some reason. Yeah. I do think the current supports that are being played are pretty good in Yemoja, but I think she can still get that team fight where, okay, we lose. Like, okay, she got a disgustingly good wall. Okay, my shell wasn't here, or my jump's down. Okay, I guess we lose. Like, I don't know. It's so hard. Like, that ult is so good. Honestly, all of her buttons are just so good. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be the one that kills her, but I think the ring duration literally being cut. I feel like I could say this, like, oh yeah, she's definitely like gonna be worse and never played, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, these were all nerfs that the pros brought up when we were talking to them about Yemoja, so maybe this time we shall see. Baron loses a little bit of healing. He was obviously very strong after 9.5, so nothing really else to say about that one. Jingwei, sorry Barry, but everyone's playing her these days, loses 10% scaling on explosive bolts. Now they only deal 110%. Feel like Jingwei is still going to be good after this, but maybe not as dominant.
Oh yeah, this nerf doesn't do anything.
Well, it's something, right? It makes her a little bit worse.
Yeah, that's what every emoji nerf says.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I just think like she's picked because she's a late game hunter. She's picked because she has like some of the best survivability in the game. It's a crit meta where also you can build kins, where also you can build bows, where also you can go like ability power. So I think when this many other things are good, Jing will still be good. Like, not even saying that because I played 9,000 SPL Jing games, but I just think this nerf... I mean, I don't think Jing should have been killed anyways off of this patch. I just think other things should have been buffed. But also, yeah, 10% off her 2 isn't going to stop her from 4-shotting a carry late game. That's just what it is.
Sure, fair enough. Rat gets a buff. This god, pretty stinky, so I think he definitely deserved it. Robin as well. Robin, we talked about it after 9.5. Assassins that killed you with their full combo, but just by a little bit, we're going to get hurt the most. Robin always just barely killed you, and after 9.5, he was nowhere close to killing you. And I am the world's #1 Robin hater. I hate playing against this god.
It's because you're a mid laner.
Yeah, he just obliterates mages. That's his design. Like, that's what he does. I get it.
Also, real quick, just a quick little SPL note. It is very toxic to see your brother lock in Poseidon and then you lock in Ravana mid. That's
really toxic.
That's going to make Thanksgiving awkward. That's going to make Christmas awkward. That's going to make everything just... That's just a toxic thing to do. And you really should not do that.
Very rude. The only... Like, it is maybe... It's the more disrespectful version of, like, locking in Chang'e mid. Which also instantly makes me mad whenever I play a god like Poseidon.
I forgot Chang'e was a character. Holy.
Yeah, bro. Back in the day, the meta that we had in box, bro, it was all Poseidon and Giannis and Iset. And Chang'e is really good against all three of those gods. And so Chang'e mid became the meta, and I hated my life because I do not like playing her. And I had to play against her all the time. And I was convinced it was bad, and I was very stubborn. And said we didn't need to ban it. These guys suck. It's fine, and then we should have just banned it because it was a complete crutch character in that meta for sure. But yeah, Robin definitely needed the buff. Odin gets a buff, a pretty significant one. I think this is it's like multiple reverts or one full revert on his 3. I mean, it's certainly a significant buff. I'm a little surprised at how everyone was like, "Oh my god, Odin's going to be completely insane now." Though I mean, Odin just has not seemed particularly potent in the meta recently whatsoever, and it doesn't seem like a buff that's going to instantly skyrocket him to S tier, but certainly could be wrong. I mean, this is a pretty significant buff to the 3.
I feel like I've seen 0 Odin, so if it brings it back, it brings it back. But I mean, also haven't played any ranks, so just I haven't seen any Odin. Like,
fair enough.
This
Freya.
change is a buck wild change.
Yeah, it's a little spicy, huh? Freya gets a
pretty
pretty significant base damage buff on Pulse, which is kind of the whole ability that matters on Freya. Do you think she is instantly one of the best characters in Duo, or do you think it's a little bit more complicated than that?
I mean, I honestly already thought Freya was pretty good. And this literally... I think this cannonballs her into the meta. Like, I think she is just thrown into. Obviously, you still can have your late game team fights where you don't really do anything. As Freya, you get blinked on. You press 2-1, you're like, oh, I'm low, gotta ult. Okay, and I'm dead on drop. That's unlucky. But I think that this buff is actually massive. Like, I mean, obviously, it's literally almost doubling the damage, but this is a really big buff.
Yeah, doubling the damage at rank 1. Only by the late game it doesn't matter nearly as much, but having the level 1 damage get nearly doubled is a huge deal. It is worth remembering, I think, that every single one of Freya's core items got nerfed, pretty much.
Yep.
In 9.5. All of the rings. And she cares about the rings more than any other mage ADC, I think.
Yeah, her and Alaron are like tied, in my opinion, for caring about the rings.
Yeah, so certainly we will see how item dependent she truly is. I've always thought of her as a really item dependent character. I think the rings are pretty bad right now, which is why I think a buff of this magnitude was within the acceptable range. But it's very possible that she's less item dependent than I thought, and that she just goes absolutely crazy.
I assume if you're laning against her, I assume you have to go like an Iqbal or something. Something to, like, gap the boxing potential. I mean, it's the old school thing is just you go like Iqbal, or you have some anti-attack speed, or a god that can blink on her and instantly farm her. Or you go crit and you just one-shot her while she tries to one-shot you.
Sounds fun to me. And then lastly, Yu Huang gets some buffs. I've been saying all along I think this god is really good. He's just hard.
Yep.
I think people are starting to catch on. We saw a good amount of Yu Huang this weekend.
Yeah, that
which was really
surprised
awesome.
me a lot because I feel like the overarching community feedback was he's bad plus boring. And now we're seeing him absolutely pop off in SPL. I mean, you brought it up earlier. I think the Paul performance on him, like, he literally diffed everyone in player damage by, like, a solo laner amount of damage, you know? Like,
Yep.
where you see those solo laners where, like, I have 20k more than the rest of my team. I'm just farming damage. Look at me. But, like, as a mid laner, you don't really get those kind of opportunities. And I feel like we've seen him have a lot of success. A lot of success.
Yeah, this god's really good. If you played him on release and thought that, you know, you heard your favorite mid laner say he sucked, or your favorite pro say he sucked, you're doing yourself a disservice by not playing some Yu Huang games, because this god is really good. The ultimate, I've said the tip a couple times, but I'm going to keep giving it out.
For
The
free?
tip with the ultimate. For free. Well,
Interesting.
no, you got to sign up with mintmobile.com. The tip is you just aim the ultimate at the very end. You want to hit them at the very end, and then use that, like, you want to space it out.
Yep.
You can just press forward and click, and then if you put the dragon right on top of them properly, they can't react, and they get pushed, and they take a lot of damage, and they get displaced. And it is really good if you use it that way.
Yeah, good tip.
If I have not been able to play a whole lot of ranked recently, and like I've just been doing so much work for mid-season that I've been really trying to value my off time. If I were trying to climb in ranked right now, Yu Huang would be my first pick in mid. He does everything you want. His clear is fine early. His late game is absolutely insane. He doesn't need a whole lot of setup. He doesn't need a whole lot of peel. He can make plays on his own. Play this god. Y'all are trolling. He's so good.
Y'all are
Just play him.
trolling.
Y'all are trolling. That's all I'm saying.
Well said.
All right, time for the random question of the week, Barry.
Okay.
And we still have Red
The
Buff
list?
Bandits list
Nice,
of
perfect.
random questions of the week. We've crossed 2 of 8 off the list. Bear, I want you to pick a number 1 through 8, and we'll answer that question.
Wait, 1 through 8?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
there
we
we-
didn't talk about Lancelot. Maybe we talk about Lancelot next week.
Yeah, I have no idea what he does, and also I haven't read his buttons, so.
There you go. Let's do that. Next week it is for Lancelot. Okay, yeah, 1 through 8, Bear.
We'll go with lucky number 1, because that's my favorite number.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, this is a troll question. Most cool crime to commit. Example, break into the zoo and release gorillas after giving them
that
a
seems
psychotic
dangerous.
drug.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. This question, Red Buff, this was my least favorite question when I read through them initially, very quickly.
That...
I don't think it's a good idea for us to answer the coolest crime to commit.
I mean, it would have to be
Actually,
something...
I do have one. I can answer this.
It would have to be something that's like, it shouldn't be against the law, but if you do end up doing it, it's overall a good thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what mine is.
Which is probably just some, like, Robin Hood thing, like,
Yeah.
stealing a lot of money from, like, a big corporation, giving it back to the employees. I feel like it's probably just something along those lines. That would be...
Yeah, exactly. You're taking it
My
right out of my
safe
mouth, Barry.
answer.
I was going to say the
Yeah.
coolest crime you can commit is taking a billionaire's money away. Any way that you can do that, and not giving them any more, of course, is the best thing that you can do, in my opinion. That would be the coolest way to do it. Is to just, you know, really stick it to Elon Musk in any way that you can, because they're all bad humans.
Yeah,
that's my position.
I mean, even with, like, things like robbing a bank, I feel like you're literally just giving people PTSD. Like, those poor workers there. You're literally
Yeah,
just,
exactly. They don't deserve it.
yeah, harming them forever.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't really think about committing crimes a lot.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, I'm picking another one because that one didn't really count. I'll go on the other end of the spectrum here. I'll go number 8. I'm crossing them off a list I have in my notebook so that I know which ones we've done. If you were Power Rangers, what part of the Megazord would you want to be?
The who?
The Megazord, you know, like when they
Nope.
when they all like they get in their they
Their
combine
Gundam?
their powers and they get in the big mech. and they each control one part of the Megazord. Look, everyone's gonna say something inappropriate.
Bro, I
That's
didn't know
the
it's called a
challenge.
Megazorb.
Zord, Megazord. That's what he wrote
With a
down.
D?
I don't know. Yeah,
What are the options? You have like 2 legs, 2 arms, a chest,
and a head.
A head?
Yeah, maybe you could control like the stomach of some kind, if you can
Well,
figure out a way to do so.
Being a leg would definitely be bottom tier. Wait, can we just tier list them?
Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, legs, bottom tier.
Yeah, I agree.
Chest depends on the weaponry that you're given. If you have like
Okay.
rockets in your chest or things that you can aim, if you're literally just there as the chest and you have no weaponry, you're pointless. So you should have something, either like a jetpack on your back, some kind of mobility, some kind of rockets. Like your chest pieces come off and you're shooting some rockets or something. I would say arms are definitely top tier. 100% top tier.
Yeah, arms are good.
Head for me is probably second tier. Below
Interesting.
arms, because I feel like having the you're basically like a shot caller at that point. Like you're looking where you should be looking and
Right.
detecting and kind of leading people to do X, Y, or Z. And then chest is probably, it goes arms, head, chest, legs for me for my tier list.
Interesting that you don't have head at the top. I feel
Bro.
like head is pretty clearly the best.
Okay, chat's roasting me that I don't know the robot. Dude, that was, I watched Power Rangers when I was like 4.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah, but I don't remember what it was. I haven't watched the newest like movie releases that they've been doing.
Of course not.
Just haven't cared. Sorry, I guess.
No, I think that's a very defensible position. You're an adult now, but at the same time, that's just the way it goes. Yeah, they're all in the central console together, Raymond, but I think that for the spirit of the question, it's as if we were all controlling a different part of it.
Yeah.
I think that here's the number one rule. Obviously, it's just being on the head and telling everyone else what to do, because you have to do the least amount of work and can just tell everyone else what to do.
Is your explanation going to take like 2 minutes? Because I really have to pee.
Yeah, 2 minutes, I swear.
Okay, be right back.
The second coolest thing. Oh, I thought he was just gonna leave, or that he wanted me to be done quickly so that we could turn off the podcast. I didn't know that he was just gonna get up and leave. The second coolest part, I think, would actually be, let's assume that the robot is right-handed. Okay, that would mean that you're left, if it's you're using a sword or something like that, some type of weapon, as the Power Rangers are known to do from time to time. That would mean that the weapon would be in your right hand, and that your left arm would be playing more defense. And I think it would actually be very cool if you were just sick nasty at playing defense on the left. You know what I mean? So everyone else could trust you that you were just going to throw up a hand, you were going to catch whatever they were throwing at you, you were going to block it, you were going to deflect it. I think that's cool. Then it's the right hand, and then it's both legs. They are both obviously terrible. They just won't do it. I would actually, if I were still in control, by the way, chat, I would have ended the podcast while Barrow was gone. But it seems as though I'm no longer in control of that because we're here. So, but I'm kind of wrapped on the Megazord topic. I think that's all I've got for it. Maybe the robot could be left-handed.
Good lord,
and therefore the right hand would be cooler. Okay, Barrow's back.
my bladder was about to explode, dude. I had to bail.
Hey man, it's better than you gotta do the business in the chair. That's the worst case scenario.
Sometimes your questions of the day or whatever, there's some pretty long-winded answers. So I was like, if he's gonna give a long-winded answer, I can go pee and be back, and they won't even know I'm gone. It's a podcast.
I thought you were asking that so that you could, so that we could get out of here, so you could go to the bathroom.
Oh, I was already peeking at that, where you feel like you have to pee or you're literally gonna explode, and
right.
I've been wiggling in my chair for quite some time, so I really had to pee. I
understand. Well, I'm glad that you were able to make it.
Sorry, chat. Sorry, podcast.
That is all right. Most of the time, it's just me monologuing anyway, so that's the way it goes. But that'll do it for this week on the Backliners. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you give us a good rating, all that kind of good stuff. Check out all the predictions of their shows. They got a lot of great shows covering a bunch of different esports and topics that are definitely worth your time. Our sponsor for this episode was Mint Mobile. Head on over to mintmobile.com/backliner to get backliners, plural, to get $15 a month premium wireless service. Again, the best way to support the podcast is by helping us out and supporting our sponsors because they are so kind as to sponsor us. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week for some Lancelot talk and maybe some more SPL and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that'll do it. So, Barra, you're going to have to close it and, do like the scene switch and mute it, all that kind of stuff. And say bye simultaneously. So good luck with that.
Well, real quick, is Lancelot coming out this Tuesday? He is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. Okay. Bye!
You know what to do, Barry. Go ahead.
Wait, do I have to mute? Do I want to keep the mute?
No.
Oh.
So you don't mute.
Okay.
So what I usually do is I switch the scene, and then I let us ramble a little bit.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
Wait, you didn't say bye, and you already scene swapped?
I said bye.
Did you? It was so short.
Bye! My throat is all over the place.